Welcome to the Q course on crafting user experience or UX. The intention of this program or this presentation is to share the knowledge on how do you design websites, products, solutions with the intention to delight the end consumer. So it's not just about satisfying the end consumer, but delighting the consumer. And to delight an end consumer or user experience plays a very important role. So let's dig deeper to identify and understand what are the core components of UX, what are the standard theories on UX or standard formats on applying user experience, and at the same time, what are the best ways or the worst ways in which user experience has been applied across websites and products. To start with, let me share this idea first of all. User experience or experience design, it's not a course by itself or it's not a standard by itself. It's all about the mindset. The mindset of the people who are involved in this, involved in developing a product or a solution. It could be a developer, it could be a UI designer, it could be the team lead UI designer, it could be a manager, it could be a quality assurance guy, or it could be the product owner, the analyst, or who it be. User experience is exactly what is the mindset of these people with respect to the idea of delivering the best value to the end user. It's all about how do you think, how do you want your product to become. To put in short and simple words, how do you think gets transformed to how do you build your product, and how you have built your product, that defines how easy it's for the end consumer or the user to use it. So it's all about a mindset. Another point to make sure that user experience design is not an user interface design. User interface design in which you come up with the mock-ups or wireframes, that is not the user experience design. It has an additional level to it. We'll see in deeper as we go through these slides. So people do ask this question. So user experience is all about getting the best to the users, getting the best value to the users. Is it? No. It's a big no. Why? Because you need to have a balance. You need to have a balance of user experience and business objectives. A product or solution is not going to be highly successful if it is high in user experience but does not meet the business objectives. So each product or solution or a project which you are delivering has in the background certain business objectives and missions and reasons why this product has to be launched to a market. Unless and until the entire business objectives are met at the right place, in the right way, user experience cannot help you out in building a strong rapport with the end consumer. So it's about balancing user experience and the business objectives. It's not that easy, as you say. If you take a typical example, people might ask you, let's take a typical example in which a customer or client comes in and says, okay, I want this product. So you build it for me. And the next question you're going to ask them is, who is your target audience for this product? And you're going to say, this is a mass product. I want you to make it work for everyone across all geographies, demographics, age group, cultural group, occupations. So it should be targeting a mass market product. If a client or customer says that to you, think twice. Before going for intensive research, think twice. Else what will happen is you'll do an intensive research for leading to tens or 15s of months or years, and then you'll come up with a finally solution which is going to cater to the needs of the entire group, which means it's going to meet the needs of the young demographics and the young people, the old people, the working people, working class, the housewives, gender, across all genders and all. And finally, nobody would be happy to work it because it's not targeting a particular customer group or profile. It's a mass product. So you need to identify whom do you want to cater this product to and design your user experience or product in such a way that it meets their needs in the best way. Who is responsible for UX? Is it just the UI designers? As I was saying earlier, it is not the job of a UI designer or a UI component development guy to make sure that the user experience is met. It's a collective responsibility. That's why I said it's a collective responsibility because everyone is involved in it. From an architect, designer, engineer, producer, specialist, marketing, business analyst, coordinator, testing guy, QA guy, everyone has a particular role in making sure that you have the best user experience delivered across your product. So titles doesn't matter. The vision has to be shared across the entire organization. So why do you want to design? Why do you want to have a product which is good design, which is high in design, high in user experience? I'll tell you this simple. If you have a product which is good in design, you can say you have a 200% higher visit to lead. A end consumer or a prospective consumer who's going to visit your website or who's going to see your product, he can be a lead to generate revenue with a 200% high chances. But you have a good user experience, the chances are 400% higher. So which makes it very clear, it's not just about designing a product and which is good, but to make sure that the product or the solution has a high user experience. Also to retain customers, 14% higher chance of retaining customers if you have good UX sites. And if you have good UX sites, chances for people to abandon your site halfway in between is very less. It's 41% lower than their inferior cousins. So that clearly shows the importance of having a user experience analysis and building a product or solution meeting to the user experience ideology. And upfront, if you design with user experience in mind, you're going to reduce your development cost. You don't have to change, extensively redesign or redevelop at a later stage to fix all the UX issues which is going to pop up at the later stage. This is what happens in most of the products. User experience won't get enough importance in the beginning, but later once it goes to QA, people might think, okay, is this the right way to do it or is this the best way to do it? Come on, let's make a redesign, let's make some alternate path flows and then workflows and then build or tweak the product so that it meets the needs of the user. So you're going to do some, at the end you're going to fix these issues, but the best option is always to identify these prospective issues in the early stage itself and design your user experience with the product solution in such a way that you have all these needs addressed. Basic principle 1, if you're building a website, do you want to make your user think about the product or the website and see what I want to do in this website? If you see the website on the left, the image on the left, you see it clearly, you can see that this is a highly thickly populated web page in which you have entire content arranged in a tiles and in blocks. So if you see here, there are a lot of content in this. If I jump into this website the first time, I'm a bit confused. Okay, what do I want to do with this website? I don't have a clear navigation, clear guidance and all. So it makes me think. So if it makes me think, it's simple. It's not good in user experience. The first and foremost rule in user experience is don't make me think. So you can read a book, Don't Make Me Think by Steve Kerr. This talks about the principles on how you design to make sure that you don't make the user think. Very important point to make note. So it's time to understand user experience in a bit detail. Theoretically, users' perceptions of the usefulness, usability and desirability of a web application based on the sum of all their direct and indirect interactions with it. That's called user experience. So any website or product, it has to be useful because as a customer, I want to accomplish my goal. It should be usable. I should be easily able to perform my tasks. It should be desirable. I should enjoy the experience of this website. That's what matters more. So if you see this Jesse James Garrett, who is a pioneer or a guru in user experience designing, and if you walk into the book of the elements of user experience designing by Jesse James, you will see the elements of user experience. So Jesse James talks about a five level or 5-element structure in user experience designing. So how do you do a user experience designing? It all starts from the strategy. First, you need to have a strategy for your product or your solution which you're envisioning. Once you have a strategy, with respect to strategy, you develop a scope. Okay, what are the business objectives? What are the functionalities you want to bring into this product? You cannot ensure that you are meeting the entire functionalities in one single thing. It all depends on your target market, what are the priority functionalities, and so basically you're trying to scope out your functionality based on your strategy. So once you have scope defined, now you need to make sure that you have a good structure. Structure would say, what are the navigation? I land up in a home page and where should it take me? What are options I have from the home page to navigate to other pages? So you define a structure to and fro navigation of the user and make sure that the structure is not a complicated one and it has a good guide as well. So you had a strategy, you had a scope, and you came to a structure. Once you have a structure ready, that's when you think of defining the skeleton for your product or your solution or your website or web page. Skeleton would say where exactly are the elements, the UI elements you're going to place, where exactly are the navigation icons you're going to place, where exactly you have static content, where you have dynamic content, how do you want to scroll the web page, how do you want to make sure that the high priority items are easily visible. So you define a structure or skeleton. Basically you do it using your wireframing technologies in which you come up with mock wireframes, and that defines the skeleton. You have skeleton, so you are almost done 80% there. Now it's all building up the surface. So building up the surface is building up the UI component, the colors, the fonts, the highly attractive pictures which you keep in your home page. So that's the surface. That's what you see in the web page. So this is the strategic idea, or this is strategic mode in which you you should adopt to build a user experience website or product. But generally, in 80% of the case, what people do is they start with from surface. So once I have a product requirement, I would jump and say, okay, let me design for it, a wireframe for it. So I start with the surface, then I think about skeleton and structure, and probably I might not even think about strategy. This is what happens in most of the software development cases, in case of, particularly in the case of website development or designing. So this is not the right way. A top-down, bottom approach can end up in issues later. The best approach is to go from down to top, which is strategy, scope, structure, skeleton, and surface. To get more details about this idea and theory, please refer the Elements of User Experience by Jesse James Garrett. So we already said this, good design is not good experience. And cleaning the surface doesn't solve the problem always. If you see an apple would have a clean surface, and let's take an apple which is shining, soft, and a clean surface. But if you cut it open to two halves, you might see that okay, it's not as clean as you look in the outside. There could be some kind of black spots, or there could be some kind of it's not that skinny inside, it's not that attractive inside. So that's actually what's happening with the product solutions in case of website. If you see some website, they're attractive, they are so engaging from the front end, but once you start using it, you see that okay, there are a lot of structural navigation errors or inconveniences that's been brought due to the poor design. So it's not about cleaning the surface. You have to think about everything as we discussed in the last slide: strategy, scope, and skeleton, and everything. So it's all about identifying the problems which are deep rooted. It's not about cleaning the surface. So how do we create websites which are useful, usable, and desirable? So this is the best practice. First thing, be your users. Think in the lines of your users. Step into the shoes of your users. It's not about you, it's about the users who's going to use it. So think about them and follow these 4 steps, like listening to their needs, observing them, create personas or mock profiles of these users, and empathize with them. Then only you will come to know who is going to use it and how are they going to use it, what are the mindset, what are the thought they would have when you use the product. Unless you know that what your users are and what their thoughts are, you won't be ending up in building the best website. And when you say becoming users, you should avoid these pitfalls. Don't assume that developers already understand the user. Most cases they don't. It's not about developing something or the best thing which you feel is right. It's about developing the best thing which what the user thinks he is right. So just don't listen, observe the user, and don't confuse business stakeholders with users. The client or the company or the client or the stakeholder who is going to provide you, who has shared with you the requirement, he's not your user. End user is the one who's going to use it. So don't confuse business stakeholders with users. Both of these people have different ideologies and different demands. So if you're really concerned about UX, you have to think about the end users. And user experience gathering is not user research. User research is much more deeper. User research is mandatory to build a website which is high in UX. Best practice 2, design first. Don't develop first, design first and develop later. You have some pitfalls to avoid here. Don't assume that tools can design for you. Tools can never design for you. Tools can only assist you in designing. And don't lock into design soon. Think twice on a design. Iterate, find loopholes in the design, come up with a better design, scrap it, then go for third design. So it's not about locking the design soon, but it's all about locking the best design. And don't rush to write a code. Unless and until you have a design, a structure, skeleton, everything ready, don't jump into writing a code. Best practice 3, trust no one. When I say this, it doesn't mean that you should not trust your QA. You have to trust your QA, but do your testing by your own. If you're really concerned about UX, whether it be you're an analyst, you're a product owner, or a solution architect, or whatever it be, but you should have your hands on the product and test it. So once you test continuously, you might come up with some couple of more usability issues which are not be captured by the UA. Share with the UA and identify how you can overcome this. And user experience, as I said, is not something which you should consider the end once you have the product ready. You should inject this into the process, whether it be SDLC or whether it be an agile process, Scrum or Kanban or whatever process you're following, it doesn't matter. But you should have the user experience injected into the process, which means you are thinking, you are concerned about the user experience across the product development lifecycle, starting from the business requirements or the pre-proposal to the coding, to the designing, to the coding, to the testing, to the delivering. So each and every phases and stages has its importance in the user experience, and you're really concerned about it. So it's all about injecting this user experience importance and the guidance into the process of software development. So whether it be software development lifecycle in a standard waterfall model, agile model, or whatever model it be, make sure that you have it injected in the process. So that's all. That's all about user experience. Oops, I've not done it. Follow the Maya principle. This is the most advanced acceptable principle. If you see this visual here, if computers existed before anyone could understand them, no one would use them. So it's not about delivering a highly complex, the best in case product to the user. It's about delivering something which the user is able to understand and use it. So delivering an experience that's too far from what they are comfortable with, and they will walk away easily. So understand what is the comfort zone of the user, who are they, and then design and develop a product or solution to meet their needs. This is very important. Share your knowledge early. As a developer or a designer, you don't wait for the entire spec to be built. Write your spec of multiple tens and 20s and hundreds of pages, and then at the end share the spec to the developer saying that okay, this spec contains the entire standards or guidelines which you should follow when you design or develop. If you do that way, you're wasting your time. So whatever thoughts you have, let's say if you take the design spec itself, once you have a initial structure of design spec, you share it with your developer, you have it brainstorming on top of it, and then you discuss and find out. So you don't wait till the entire spec is ready. You iteratively over weeks of times or days of time, you engage with your designer and share your knowledge early. It's very, very important for a successful product which is high in user experience. See the real world rules, how an iPhone app, Apple's iBooks app uses this realistic lighting. If you see, it's an iPhone app, but it looks like a real bookshelf. So this is how you should be thinking, how the user wants to see it. User would love to see an iPhone app which is basically a bookstore and an online bookstore which looks like exactly like his physical bookstore at home. So that's about obey the world rules and watch out for the real world rules. Provide instant feedback. So this particular example says that I missed to enter my email. So rather than waiting for the user to submit and then showing a message, throw your message instantly saying that okay, you missed your email address or you typed it wrong. So please correct it. And this is the most common annoying error you might have ever seen in a website. Page not found, 4 not 4 error. Why do you want to show that? Tweak it, show some interesting error pages. See, if you see the right hand, sorry, that page doesn't exist. Thanks for noticing. It gives you a friendly approach to displaying the 404 error. It's not about, hey, I have page not found. No, do whatever you want. I don't care. It's about, sorry, I missed as a product, I missed to find that page. See, it's a friendly communication with the end user. There are a lot more examples, a lot more best practices. I would suggest you to go to the 50 UX best practices by Above the Fold, and I'm not going to walk you through that now, but please make sure that you have seen this. This is really interesting. We'll quickly run to some UX trends. So a couple of UX trends here. If you see the website at the top, the pure New Zealand, 100% pure New Zealand, it has infinite scrolls and high quality background images. The image gives a feel, the high quality image gives a feel that, okay, hey, New Zealand is amazing. Why don't we book a flight to New Zealand? So this is how you challenge, you make your user think, okay, this is beautiful, this is wonderful. I just want to get engaged with this website or solution. So that's how, bringing in high quality images and infinite scrolls. Typography is very, very important. If you see the website down, it has an excellent typography. So I would suggest you to run to the newyorker.com and to experience the typography, how the fonts are placed, the size of the fonts. It's easily readable and well structured. Handcrafted experience. This is particular couple of sites, if you see now these days, have some handcrafted experience in which you launch the website and the home page you see an animated video. If in this particular example, if you run to this website, you might see you have a home page in which you see a dog walking. So it's not a video, but it's kind of an handcrafted interactive experience. So these things all like make your user smile and feel happy about it. And single page websites, this is the common trend now these days. You have one single page with an infinite scroll, and sorry, let me correct it, it's not an infinite scroll, it's a finite scroll, but you have a single page in which you have the entire content, and as you scroll you see the category of information popping up on your screen. You need to have microscopic attention to UX. It's not that simple. You should think twice, thrice, and more than that to make sure that you have a microscopic attention to the user experience elements. If you see the site at the top, the example at the top, see, a very simple item. You are in an online retailing shop and you see there are 0 items in the shopping bag. You're not added any items. And if you notice that icon there, it is an Andy smiley. He's not smiling, see, because there's no items in the shopping bag. The moment you add one item to the shopping bag, it shows one item and you see it's a smiley. So this is simple. People might not notice it, but it's simple. But once you notice it, it makes you feel happy. This is very minor micro elements which you can think and bring into your website. And this is a very common one which you see across book siting, bus booking and flight booking sites. And to name example, Expedia.com, Co.in. So here you're creating a perceived demand. So once you search for a particular room, it shows the price and cost of these rooms. At the same time, it also shows you there are only 2 rooms left. Come on, it's high time you book it earlier. So this creates a perceived demand, and as a user, I think, okay, if there are only 2 rooms left, it's time for me to book it. So I rather than running away from this website, there are high chances that I might end up in purchasing one. So you're engaging your consumer, you're creating a perceived demand, you're making sure that, okay, he's not leaving the page without making a business transaction. And common thing, you always say, type your search text here. That's what you see in most of website. It's quite common, but see this guys, they say, oh, how about it? That's it. It's a search, but they don't have the text like, search your text here, type your search tag here, and all those technical jargons. So this is simple, this is different. And 37 Signal is an awesome website. They were very innovative in thinking. So when you log into this website, when you launch this website in your browser on a Wednesday, it will say Happy Wednesday. If you launch this website on a Friday, it will say Happy Friday. So the moment I launch this website in a browser, I get a wish, okay, Happy Wednesday, man, Happy Friday, man. So that's different, it's innovative. It doesn't really matter how it's going to add value to the end product or the solution, but it gives a feeling to the user that, okay, this is something which cares for me. And once I'm happy, the chances of engaging the relationship with the website or the product is high. So it's all about building that relationship, and to build a relationship, these all micro elements really matter. So what we have seen till now are some good examples of UX. So aren't there any bad examples for UX? There are a lot. There are a lot of bad examples for UX, but I'm not going to dig into it now because it might extend the whole day. So I'm done. Thank you for listening to the user experience crafting user experience to delight the end user. So run through the websites and the links which I've shared in this presentation and have a great time. Thank you. Happy designing, happy user experience promotion. Thank you.